Welcome, everyone, to this second now edition of this podcast, Druids in Freeform. Now that we have a name for it, how are you, Kara?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. We just finished doing another heroic sale. We're gonna talk about that later on. But let's move on to the first question of the day, and that is, what is the most effective way to recruit? And I'll take it because it seems like that's pretty much my main area.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to recruiting, first answering the question straight up, the way the system that I have developed, it has an active side and a passive side. When it comes to the active side, as in stuff that you do, that you move stuff and you keep track of it, the best way by far is trade channel, which is why it's pretty much flooded with sales and trade chat, just because it's very, very effective. That's where players are looking at, not all of them, and I'll cover that, but trade chat is definitely a good way to go. Now, the system that I developed is that I didn't want to be just sitting there hitting the button every 2 minutes being stuck to my computer. And so what I'll do, and I'll put the description, I'll put more information on the description for this video. I use a software called AUTOHOTKEYs, which is, it allows you to, I guess it's called compile a script. I don't know the technical information here. But basically what it does is it runs a script that I have set up that I can configure after how much time it presses a button. And so basically what I do then is that thanks to this script, I have my trade macro being spam, and I'll put the trade macro there as well. I have that macro being spam every 2 minutes. 1 minute works too, but really 2 minutes is fine. But my point in this is that you gotta find a way to make it work for you. So this way for me, for example, I spam the recruit chat, and then once in a while, I check over the computer, see if there's any whispers, and I take care of them. The other active way of recruiting is to just notify your guild that you're looking for people, and that actually pays off a lot. When people, especially now that we're all connected through Battle.net, just people know other people know my someone, you just never know. And so you do have 25 people there in your guild that could be also looking for people and helping you out. And finally, just to finish again, the specific tools that I want to give you today for recruiting, the second part of it is make sure that you are making a post on the recruitment forums. That is also, and the good thing about that one is that top players, that's where they're looking. Like players like at our level, that's primarily where they go and look, because that way they can see the guilds that are recruiting, they can see their hours. So definitely make a post in the recruitment forum, and also ask your raiders to help you bump. What I would do is I just add it on favorites, and every time I open Firefox, I would just go and just bump it myself.
Well, there's a name drop for one if I didn't hear it.
There's a what?
Firefox. Throwing out a brand of a browser there.
Well, that's the one I use. I guess, yeah. Use your default browser. Yeah, and the good thing about recruiting is that you should be there to answer questions, but most of the raiders, they know. Like, I would say that most raiders, they always want to make a good impression when they join a guild. And so usually you're going to have people that say, okay, this guild has to fill an app, which is normal, and just go fill it. You will have people that say, I don't want to fill an app. Like, I just don't care about the app. And those are the kind of people that you just don't want to starting with. But I guess it's because this question is a bit technical, but it's a pretty dry. But I'm just trying to give you a specific tool you can take from this. How can I improve my recruiting? So just in summary then, is you got to spam on trade chat. And there are ways and there are software to make that bearable, where you just leave the computer and you can just check it once in a while and see if you have any whispers blinking, and then you answer those whispers. Or if they're offline, you can send them an in-game mail, because you don't have to burn yourself out. And also definitely make sure that you have a forum post on the recruit forum and just be bumping it. And the last thing that I do want to say just about recruiting before, if you want to add something, Kara, is that you have to understand and advertise your guild's best strength, which usually is your progression. Like in our case, 6 of 9, that's the kind of guild that we want to advertise, is that people know that we're progressing through maidens, we're pushing for cutting edge. But for example, another strength our guild has is that it's been around since 2010, and they've been. Are you like popping your knuckles?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it. But some, like for example, Astroglide was built in or established in 2010, so that's something that I definitely advertise because it shows that we're a guild that's been around for long, which we have. But my point is, for example, if you're a fresh guild, then even advertise that. I guess it's hard for me to imagine the situation of many guilds have been just focused on ours, but just understand that look out for what's your main strength and make sure that that's what you're advertising. If you have raiders that have higher progression, then led by their progression, raiders. And let's see what else about recruiting. Well, I guess I'll cover it real quick so we have time. One of the main ways to avoid the bad recruits, if you will, like the people that you don't want to, is that you immediately point them to the app. You always make apping the first step. If they have any questions, that's fine. If they want to talk to a raid leader, that's fine. But it's always sort of like, okay, let's get this out of the way so you go app. There's a lot of people that think that a guild is like an LFG where they can just invite me. Who cares? Just trial me. I don't need gear. Whatever they say. It's like you're always recruiting for the long run. And so one of the ways that you can achieve that is, again, avoiding those raiders that you just ultimately don't want for several reasons. So one way of that is saying if they're not willing to fill up an app, you really don't want them in the guild. And so always be pointing to the app. Always be pointing to, okay, I'm here to answer any questions, but I still need you to fill out an app. Well, you have anything to add, Kara? I know that this is pretty much my area, but...
Yeah, I guess I'd have a couple things to say. I think, obviously, recruiting is important. It's important to any guild for it to be successful. The important part about recruiting, though, the way you handle it, is it's going to tell you people's dedication to wanting to be in a guild or wanting to be part of a progression or anything of the sort. If you have somebody who's sitting there and they're just trying to get you to get them in the guild and they don't want to put in a whole lot of work, you can't expect them to put a whole lot of work in the raid either. At the same time, if your guild's going to do applications where they actually have to go on a guild website and fill something out, and they don't put any professionalism into the application, how much professionalism are you going to expect them to put into your raid? And like we said in the last podcast, it becomes a job for the people who run the guild, and for you expect professionalism out of your raiders, so that way the guild runs smoothly, the raids run smoothly, and everything else. Also, don't limit yourself. Limiting yourself is the worst thing you can do. Just because you decided to do what Laura just recommended and spam trade chat, don't think that completely eliminates the need to go onto the forums or the need to whisper people who, if you're in an LFR, who may be doing very, very well. Always be recruiting. When you're actively playing the game, you see a guy who's doing well, hey, say, hey, are you looking for a guild? Are you looking for a raid team? Because I got an open spot, or I got positions that I can fill.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Half the time, a lot of people, even if they say no, they may say, well, I got a friend who might want to join, who's looking for something, or they may say that that they've never really thought about it and they may want to give it a try. There's lots of different opportunities out there. It's about seizing those opportunities and making them a reality. If you do nothing, you've gained nothing. If you do something and still have gained nothing, at least you've tried.
Exactly. And going what you're saying about being open is that I think one of the key things for our guild that has also worked out is we don't have guaranteed or secure spots. We're always open to getting exceptional players. So if anyone asks, hey, do we need a need for a good hunter? Absolutely. we already have 4. It doesn't matter. We'll bring the best 4 we have, and if that bumps down someone that has been here for a year, then so be it. We always bring the best 20 that we have.
Yep, and we've unfortunately probably lost 1 or 2 people because even though they've been here, they just don't do what we need them to, or there's somebody in that we've gotten in after they've been in this guild for a while that just does it better. And you know, it sucks losing a raider and a friend who you've known for a while, but at the same time, again, raiding you and outside of raid you can be 2 completely different people, and you have to treat it that way at certain points. There's no way that you can take everything so personally inside of raid. You'll choke yourself out of the game or outside of the raid. I had this conversation actually a couple times with the Lord. He needed to stop taking things personally when people left the guild or stuff like that. And, you know, it's not something that you have to take personally when somebody leaves the guild. Obviously, they didn't think what we had here was their opportunity to do something. And, you know, oh well. Those people weren't going to do what you wanted to in the guild, obviously. They wanted to go do their own thing. So, always be recruiting. Never stop. And, never limit yourself to recruiting opportunities. If you have an opportunity to do it, seize it.
Exactly. Like threatening your raiders with better people coming in is a very good thing.
It sounds cruel, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we have run out of time. I guess if you have any questions about recruiting, just leave us in the comments. We'll be more than happy to make one of these podcasts and answer just questions. And again, we've been doing this for 3 years. I would say that I was handed really a rebuilding guild. I don't know if we covered on the previous podcast, but it was like 7 of us. So I think that one of the successes for this guild has been just solid and consistent recruiting. So if you have any more questions about recruiting, anything that you want to ask us, we're more than happy to do so. And then anything you want to add, Kara, before we wrap up this podcast?
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah. If you enjoyed what you hear, feel free to drop us comments, drop us a like, share us. We'll help anybody and everybody that we can.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you the next time. Bye.